Hey guys, welcome back. Spectacular Nerds here. And basically we've just seen the new trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home. We also rewatched the teaser trailer. So we're just going to give our thoughts on basically the general direction for Spider-Man in the MCU and this new movie to see, you know, how we think it's going and where we think it's going to go.
Yeah, so it's going to be an interesting discussion.
Yes,
we'll say that much.
Exactly.
Do you want to go first?
So yeah, basically having seen the trailer, I do have a generally positive opinion towards it. The film seems good, you know, general Marvel fare. We've got the humor going, the characters and everything. Obviously the other MCU characters coming in, which makes it looking like a pretty interesting movie. So I do think I have a more positive opinion, whereas Sean, you're more of the...
I'm a bit more cynical on it, mainly because of my opinion on Homecoming, which is not the best. Yeah. So I mean, for me, I don't know. There are good things about this trailer, don't get me wrong. There's one major thing that makes me hesitant about the whole film, which we'll get to, but...
So Sean's going to get to that point much later on. So for me, the positive thing is just it's looking like, you know, Marvel does know what Spider-Man is. Maybe they're kind of pushing Iron Man a bit much on him, which Sean will be the expert giving that opinion later.
We'll see.
But I do like that, since that is an aspect of the comics we've seen before. We've seen, you know, Iron Man kind of be a sort of mentor to Peter Parker. They are, you know, banking on that a lot, but considering I think Iron Man is like the main character of the MCU, I think this is, you know, a logical kind of step in the development of Spider-Man.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that's been like shown in the comics before. There is a relationship between Tony Stark and Peter Parker, which is being expanded on in the MCU due to recent events. And the idea being behind the idea that the relationship between them is a lot more sort of like father-son. You're getting a lot of the sort of like ideas between like him being a slight Uncle Ben figure towards him, and things like that pushing forward, which I understand why they're doing that.
Yeah, completely. So yeah, obviously continuing from that, we see that, you know, Iron Man is still playing a big presence. Yeah,
definitely.
Especially after what he did in Endgames. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. Iron Man may have toasted himself, just saying, you know, he pulled the Thanos and lost. But yeah, I mean, with the impact that that's had on Peter, you can see that it has an impact on Peter, and as we see in the trailer, Happy as well. It's one of those things. It's good that we're seeing that impact, because it's not, he's such a big character to the MCU that you don't want to see it like just thrown away as sort of like, okay, bye now. So at least that we've got, you know, we're seeing the impact of that. So the Avengers were liked towards the end of Iron Man's life, so you've got that idea of like the murals everywhere, people still painting the Avengers like the heroes and everything. The world presumably does know that Iron Man is gone, so the world in fact would be mourning for his loss, because I know there's a lot of people in the MCU, like, you know, the world that, you know, admired Tony Stark. I mean, that's why they had the Expo in Iron Man 2. So it's good to see that there is an impact being held there at least. Yeah,
and it's good to see Marvel is obviously not like other superhero movies, where you have a death and it just feels so empty.
So one of the main issues I have with the trailer is the line from Peter saying that the world needs another Iron Man, which is shown with a shot of him having some sort of like Tony Stark-esque tech on his arm. And then Nick Fury reiterating that with, it's time for you to step up, are you going to step up? And then cutting to an Iron Man mural on the wall. The problem for me is, Spider-Man is not Iron Man.
That's a big point.
And Spider-Man is not a minor hero, that he needs to become another one. And after Homecoming, with all the focus being on, you know, oh look, Iron Man's mentoring Peter and everything like that, I thought that after Iron Man's death, we'd get the reaction from Peter and how that's going to impact him going forward. Not, oh, I need to replace him, I need to be this, the world needs another Iron Man, I can be that. No, the world needs a good Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And it's just, I don't know, after Endgame, you got rid of Iron Man. I kind of feel like with Spider-Man, they just sort of went and then yanked him back into the fray. Like, I get it, but it shouldn't really impact his character that much. For me, I'm a Raimi fanboy, I'll fully admit that.
So Sean, do you think overall you're more negative on the movie because of this issue of, you know, Spider-Man kind of being more Iron Man?
I wouldn't say that I'm more negative, but it is making me a lot less hyped for what they're doing in Spider-Man's arc. Less than the film itself. It's like, the film looks like it's going to be good. We've got Mysterio, we've got what looks like elementals, I don't know.
Hydra Man maybe?
Yeah, something like that going on. Maybe even Sandman, who the hell knows? Let's hope they don't put too many villains in there. But and Amazing Spider-Man 2. But the idea being behind it is like, I still think the trailer looks good.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm just worried about Spider-Man's arc as a whole, because you know, Tom Holland's already spoiled that we're getting three films. So, is the third film going to be Iron Man again? And he becomes Iron Man? Are we going to get a multiverse Spider-Man take over the role? I don't know. I'm just worried where they're going to go with it, frankly.
And, you know, thanks to the whole multiverse thing, that is completely possible. So at least we see they have options there. If they do want to kind of make him into Iron Man eventually, which probably won't happen.
Probably not. I don't think that would happen. But, you know, with the current stance where they seem to be so heavily focused on Iron Man and Spider-Man being a duo, like you seemingly can't have one without the other, it just concerns me.
Yeah.
We might get Miles Morales out of this. Who knows?
That would be fantastic.
He just had the Spider-Verse film. That could, you know, I don't think that will be a thing, but that would be interesting.
Yeah, so hopefully, I think what we're hoping is, it doesn't bother me too much, but that they don't forget who Spider-Man is.
Yeah.
They remember that he is his own hero at the end of the day. He has his own story, his own motivations. It's not just Iron Man.
I mean, not long ago, you know, Spider-Man was basically the face of Marvel.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man's films from the Raimiverse basically ignited superhero movies as sort of like a serious medium.
That was the beginning of the whole
Like,
thing.
he is a very significant superhero. To see him kind of like just, oh, he's a mini Iron Man, it rubs me the wrong way. I don't know how I feel about it.
Especially since Spider-Man movies such as Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 1 isn't as good as Spider-Man 2, but it's still a great, like, comic book movie.
Yeah, it's a very comic booky feely movie, but Spider-Man 2 is like a solid, it's my favorite like movie of all time.
Yeah, and Spider-Man 2 is just an amazing movie. It done like the first proper serious comic book story right. Got so many themes in there, great performances, and it still holds up to this day as one of like the best comic book movies.
Yeah, 100%.
So to see possibly Spider-Man downgraded from that, it is a bit.
That's the thing.
Worrying.
So many people are hyped up for Spider-Man in the MCU because they know what a great hero he is.
Yes.
And then to see him kind of just sort of go, yeah, no, he's Iron Man's bitch. It's kind of like.
Oh, and speaking of that, we should probably mention Tom Holland. Obviously, we've seen him now in 3 movies, 1 main movie.
4 movies.
4 movies?
Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, and his own movie.
Oh yeah, of course, I forgot Endgame.
How did you forget it so quickly?
It was that good, which doesn't make sense.
It's just, the events there are traumatic and we try not to think about it too much.
Oh yeah.
Just a little.
Especially the first 5 years.
Okay.
But yeah, so we've seen him in 4 movies now, Tom Holland. So far, I think he's good. He's not my favorite.
Yeah.
I prefer Tobey. This might be controversial amongst more hardcore Spider-Man fans, since I think they feel he wasn't as good of a Spider-Man. He was a great Peter Parker, but maybe not Spider-Man. But yeah, Tom Holland, I'm liking what he's doing. He's not my favorite, but I think he's serviceable. Sean, what do you think about Tom Holland?
For me, it's kind of weird because Tom Holland as Spider-Man, I think he does a great job when he's not the focus.
Yeah, that's
when
true.
When in Civil War, thought he was fantastic. Infinity War, Endgame, his moments in Endgame kind of made me cry towards the end when it's that first hug from Tony when he comes back. I was like, ah. So he can do it well. I just don't know if he can hold a movie. And maybe that is the fear from Marvel, which is why they're relying on Iron Man so much. But if that's the case, was he the right person to choose for the role?
It's funny you mentioned that quickly, just because you're talking about how Spider-Man relies on Iron Man. And in that scene, you know, Spider-Man hugging Iron Man again, we're kind of cementing their whole relationship, and it seems to be a big part of the MCU there. Which,
I mean, it's fine, but I just, for Spider-Man, he is his own. And here's the thing that's the other problem as well. You had, in between Infinity War and Endgame, the Spider-Man PS4 game.
Oh yeah.
Which is Spider-Man on his own. Granted, they've got like Avengers Tower and everything, but you don't see any of the other Avengers. They're not in the game at all. But it was such an amazing game, and the story as well was great. And it just showed me more and more, hey, Spider-Man is a great hero on his own.
Yeah, exactly.
So the fact that the MCU just keeps pushing Tony into his, you know, line of story, it just, yeah, it's just, for me, it's really bothering me, and I don't know if it's going to get any better. Obviously, I'm still going to see the film, I'm still probably going to enjoy parts of the film, probably, maybe not all of it, but definitely parts of it. It's just, I'm really concerned where this character arc is going. Yeah.
So, obviously, like you said in the Spider-Man game, they have a more traditional Spider-Man format there with the Avengers Tower in the background.
Yeah.
That's more how Spider-Man is, you know, he's doing his own thing and the Avengers kind of come in when he needs it.
So, what are your thoughts on Mysterio's character then?
Oh yeah, so this is interesting actually. It seems they're kind of playing him off as some kind of hero, right?
Yes.
And it is interesting as well because they've confirmed the multiverse through the movies now.
Yeah, so we know that he's not lying about multiverse. Well, at least he's not lying about multiverses existing.
Exactly.
He could be lying about him coming from one, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he could be lying about him coming from one.
Well,
so we don't know. We know that they
know
exist.
this is something in the universe.
Yeah.
It's not just the Russo brothers' words on it anymore. They're actually trying to fit it into the storyline.
Again, could be a massive setup for Phase 4. Who knows what can happen if Phase 4 is going to focus on multiverse theory and all that.
Exactly. So I think that is pretty clever that they put that in there.
Yeah.
And so far I'm liking Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a great actor, fantastic, been in many good movies.
Yeah. One of my favorite movies of his was Source Code.
Source Code.
I don't know what people think about that, because generally I haven't looked at reviews, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great in that one. So
that's a good example as well. Prisoners, if I remember correctly, it's like a cop movie. He was really good in that.
And cheesy as it is, Day After Tomorrow. Is that what it was?
Cheesy as it is.
What's-
The Day After Tomorrow.
Was that the disaster flick?
Was he in that though?
Yeah, he was the son.
So yeah, he was in that.
Sam Neill's son, I think it was. Yeah, that one as well. Again, cheesy movie, but I really liked it.
Not a great example of it.
Hey, I'm just saying, the guy has range. He can be cheesy, or he can be serious, or a magical superhero with a fishbowl in his head.
No, but that's good, because that's actually a mixture. They're going for a cheesy.
Yeah, I will say this much. I'm very impressed that they kept the fishbowl design, because
Yes.
that is in the trailer.
Yeah.
So, props to MCU for going, you know what, Falcon looks a bit, so, you know, not Falcon, what's his, Vulture looks a bit too jokey.
Oh.
We need to make him seem a bit more realistic. Mysterio, though, now that's a design that will work in 2019.
Obviously, they're trying to mitigate it a bit by showing Jake Gyllenhaal's handsome mug a bit more.
Yes, well, if you're paying for the handsome mug, you might as well show it.
You gotta use it.
How else will the fangirls go? Tom Holland's too young.
Especially since 4 has been a bit ruined for the fangirls now, I think.
R.I.P. Natalie Thor.
Yeah, but no, he's looking good. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. Obviously, I don't think he's going to be the good guy. My theory is obviously he's orchestrating all of these elemental guys like Hydro Man or whatever. But yeah, pretty positive for me. What about you?
Yeah, frankly, it's the kind of thing that once I saw him, I was like, ooh, Mysterio is a villain in a film. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought of putting him in a movie.
You would have never
personally.
thought of him as one of the main villains.
Yeah, but like, I mean, he is one of Marvel, you know, Spider-Man's main villains, so it makes sense he'd be in one of the films at least, and seeing him, I thought it was kind of cool.
And it's kind of like Shocker. I didn't really expect him in Homecoming.
Yes.
He's always...
I mean, he was kind of wasted, but yeah, again, it's one of those villains where you're like, I mean, but then you see them.
But that's kind of the position he has as well in the video games. He's always like just some random mini-boss, so it kind of goes with his character.
And I mean, from one of the things, one of the few experiences I've had with Mysterio, because I'm not well versed in the character, was Spider-Man 2 on PS2. He was one of the villains in the game.
Oh yes, he was.
Started out as Quentin Beck, the stunt guy, just sort of doing his own thing, kind of making it up. It was a really funny moment where, as a young kid playing it, there's a boss fight where he's in a department store and his health bar goes up 3 times.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I was like,
yeah,
oh
yeah.
god, what do I do? Punched him. And then he's done. Thought that was really funny.
That's fantastic.
But then seeing him go into full supervillain mode where he like acts like he's a guy from space and has like changes the Statue of Liberty. He has the potential to have some really cool things as a character that you could show off in a film with massive CGI and everything.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting that they're finally using him for something.
Yeah.
No idea what, but I'm excited to see what they'll do with him.
Obviously, well not obviously, but you guys are just getting to know us, but me and Sean, we're not the biggest comic book readers.
No.
Most of our Marvel kind of fandom is basically based around the video games, the movies.
And again, TV shows.
Yeah.
The old Spider-Man TV show was.
Oh yes, exactly. I have read more of the comics, but not specifically Spider-Man, more some other ones.
Yeah.
But so if you guys in the audience, you know, if you guys are more comic book fans, you can let us know.
If you have any theories about what Mysterio's role will be, is it based on like a comic book more like bit that was done where he was like acting like he was this, that, the other?
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments. We're very interested to read up on this kind of stuff, and it might actually get us to look at certain comic books or anything like that as well.
And is Mysterio, you know, a bigger player in the comics? Is this accurate? What they're going for? We can't, you know, give too much of an opinion here with that, but
Yeah.
with our general
All we can
Spider-Man
say is
knowledge.
he's cool looking.
Yes.
And Jake Gyllenhaal's hot.
Not that we think that.
I mean, but yeah, no, he just seems like a cool character to throw in the films. Because again, you've got Doctor Strange as like a magic user.
Although
Here's potentially another one. That's kind of cool.
So overall, yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's looking great. Tom Holland's looking good. The cast is looking good. Oh, one more point we should go on. Mary Jane, or is she Mary Jane?
Yeah. I don't know what people are thinking about this. For me, Mary Jane will always be the redhead who's got that personality, the fiery redhead,
Yep,
sort of
yep.
like, oh, I'll see you later, Tiger.
Tiger, yeah.
That thing is that's Mary Jane. I don't know what they're doing with this. This doesn't feel like Mary Jane. Have they actually called her Mary Jane, or have they only called her MJ? Because that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah,
if they haven't
so
actually
far.
called her Mary Jane, maybe there's another Mary Jane coming. I don't know. I kind of hope this isn't the Mary Jane.
The problem with that though is you're gonna have 2 MJs. It's gonna be a bit of a.
Yeah, well, apparently they're trying to go for 2 Iron Mans. So
You could play.
not that much of a problem.
So yeah, Mary Jane, no, I completely agree with you. As I said in the last video, Kirsten Dunst, she wasn't the best in the, you know, the Spider-Man Raimi movies.
But frankly, she's the only one we have so far.
Exactly. And she at least got the attractiveness part down.
And the red hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is surprisingly lacking here.
Which is very important. So, you know, hopefully we'll see where we're going. I think they're going for a more modern take on Mary Jane.
They're kind of going, instead of like, I have the fiery spirit which makes me outgoing.
Yeah.
I spend all my time alone and I'm cool with that kind of thing.
What did you think of that line where Spider-Man says she's pretty and then she says, are you trying to objectify my beauty? I mean, what did you think?
Yeah, I kind of get what they're going for that. They're kind of like, oh, I'm an independent woman, go F yourself. But I'm used to Mary Jane, the traditional one. It's just, there's so much about this version of Spider-Man they're changing.
Yeah.
I'm not good with change. He's one of my favorite superheroes. Why are you changing him so much?
I agree. I mean, I think it's an interesting direction to go in. We'll see. Obviously, I'm not fully against it. I do love my red-headed Mary Jane, but we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the suits next, just before we wrap up.
Oh yes, of course.
I'll say this right now. The suits looking pretty good. I'm kind of hoping they're not as CGI as they were in the last couple of movies.
They've been very CGI.
I mean, at least the base suits anyway. Like I can understand the Iron Spider suit being CGI. That's fine. But like the base suits, I wish they were a bit more sort of actual costumes.
Kind of like in the Raimi
But
movies.
they look cool. I'm not gonna deny it. When I saw the suit in Civil War, I was like, yeah, it's actually a pretty badass suit. Especially because I really hated the Amazing Spider-Man 1 suit.
Oh yeah.
Just really hated that suit. That was just a horrendous. What the hell are you doing?
I think we can all agree that that's basically the worst Spider-Man suit in any movie ever.
Never change Spidey's suit. Don't try and beat. It's Spider-Man. He has a classic design throughout the whole of Spider-Man.
That's an example of a movie design trying to take a traditional comic book beloved source material and just updating it but doing it completely wrong. So at least this
Sort of
movie,
what they're doing with the Spider-Man universe at the moment, with that currently going on.
but at least we can agree that this movie, you know, they've got the designs down, especially with Mysterio, and the suits are looking good.
Yeah, like I said, Mysterio looks dope.
Oh yeah, he looks awesome. Which I never thought I would say.
100% looks straight out of the comics, which is great.
Yeah, and that's something we never thought we'd say, right? Which is something I like about the MCU
completely
in general. Like, I feel they've been, where they can be, they've been very faithful to like the designs and not being afraid to shy away from them, which is fantastic.
Yeah, they've updated where need be. I remember one of the quotes was when they got Scarlet Witch in the universe. They just took
Yes,
it.
yeah, I was
They
gonna
were
bring her up.
Don't worry, you don't have to go walking around in a corset. She was like, thanks, that's great. So I like the fact that they have updated certain things because that would look. And Hawkeye's design with the purple, that would just look a bit weird with the purple outfit that he has.
It is a bit of a shame though that we don't get to see Elizabeth Olsen walking around in a corset.
Anyway,
We're not the most PC show out there, so I hope you guys don't mind that. Although with Hawkeye, they did do a kind of nice throwback there, because if you look carefully in Civil War, his suit is muted purple. It's like,
oh, is it? I didn't notice that. Oh, okay. I'll have to rewatch Civil War again.
it's like the slightest shade of purple.
Okay.
But again, so this is a good
Did
thing.
you notice that, viewers? Because I didn't.
Yeah. But that is a good thing about the MCU, you know, that they are being more, you know, faithful to the costumes, and we're seeing this in Far From Home.
They're popular for a reason. But yeah, so I mean, they certainly have the little details there, which is good. I really like the sort of the red with the black suit. I think everyone's praised that one since we've seen the satellite photos.
Yeah.
You've got the sort of like Spider-Man Noir suit, which looks kind of dope. I don't know what that is, but it looks cool.
Yeah.
Maybe it's stealth suit, I don't know, but it looks cool. I don't know where he's getting them though, because up until this point he still hasn't made an actual Spider-Man suit. He's made the homemade suit,
Yeah.
but he hasn't made a Spider-Man suit. Kind of wondering when that'll happen.
I think that was actually one of your points earlier on, that you're kind of disappointed that this incarnation of Peter Parker, he hasn't actually made his own proper base suit.
Yeah, there's so much reliance on Tony Stark.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, here's your first ever proper, like the iconic Spider-Man look, and he didn't even make it.
I can only say I can kind of understand why they're going in that direction. Just because, like, with the high-tech eyes,
Yeah.
it's a bit hard to see.
Yeah, I mean,
making
yeah,
that.
when you look at something like Deadpool, they don't really explain the whole sort of eyes closing and opening kind of thing, which I don't think anyone really questioned it. So for me, after seeing Deadpool, because Deadpool came first, I'm like, well, you didn't need to explain the eyes, did you?
Yeah,
they did it in Deadpool. I get it, because none of the other characters have that, but...
But hopefully, like Sean is saying, you know, we're going to see Spider-Man move away from this Tony Stark reliance, and he's going to go into his more, you know, he's going to grow into his own proper character.
Yeah, I'll be very impressed if they can sort of string along the Tony thing. He's gone, so they're going to run out of material to use.
Maybe they're just going to keep visiting his grave or something.
Maybe, and just there's a Force Ghost version of Iron Man. Oh, you're doing what I want, Peter.
or Nano Machine.
Yeah, you see, that's Thor. Getting into like Nano Machine, Metachlorians now. It's all, everything's interlinked. Multiverse. There's going to be a Star Wars Marvel crossover. Oh my goodness.
Please, we don't need another beloved franchise ruined. Star Wars is enough.
Yeah. But yeah, so final thoughts, I guess, going into our feelings about going to see the film. Definitely going to go and see it.
Yep.
Still kind of looking forward to it because, again, Spider-Man's still one of my favourite superheroes of all time. Even if I'm not a huge fan of how this one's going. I guess I mean, for one, I could just go and see it for what they're going to do with Phase 4.
Yeah.
This is going to introduce that. We've established that already, so it will be interesting to see that at least.
And in general, obviously, we're quite positive on the MCU still. I know some people are saying they want to, not boycott, but they're done with the MCU, which I can understand because Endgame was such a brilliant end point.
It is, to be fair, it is. If you stopped watching it Endgame,
it'd be fine.
It'd be great.
That's
I think they designed it to be a very good stop point if you wanted to.
It was fantastic, yeah.
But as nerds and obligation as we are, we're going to continue until we're sick of it.
Until they
I'm still continuing with Star Wars and I'm sick of that.
Unfortunately, we have to suffer for this whole thing. But yeah, so basically positive, mostly a bit more cynical, but still gonna watch it and hopefully the MCU will continue.
I want them to prove me wrong. That's the thing. So I'm gonna go and hope for that.
Yeah.
And you're looking forward to it as well.
I mean, it's not my most hyped up MCU movie, but I'll watch it and I think I'll enjoy it. It'll be fine, and obviously if it takes me by surprise, it takes me by surprise, and that can only be a good thing.
Mysterio's already taken me by surprise, so I mean, you know, they've got that going for them.
Is it because he's hot?
No, it's because of the fishbowl.
I never thought Mysterio
I just can't believe they're using the fishbowl in a movie. That's really funny to me.
It is amazing, yeah, definitely.
That's the one thing I thought they'd change. Make it a space helmet. No, it legit still looks like a friggin' fishbowl. It's great.
So yeah, I think overall we're most hyped up about the fishbowl. But
yes.
But yeah, so hopefully we'll get back to you guys when the movie's done. We'll give our review, and yeah, hopefully they won't have fucked up.
Yeah, and we'll see how Phase 4 goes. Woohoo! The Avengers were liked towards the, the end of Iron Man's likes, so it's the Avengers were like.
It's okay, I can edit that, don't worry. I can hear.
I'll let you put your glass back on for continuity.
Okay, yeah, that's true, that's true.